Well, friends, while everybody was arguing about who was right and who was wrong regarding the topic at the Capitol this past week, there was one particular group who is not divided on where they stand. That's the anti-gun group. More notably, the anti-gun Democrats. And She-Jack, right over here in Houston, Texas, Sheila Jackson Lee, is one of the main ones. All she does is promise and in many cases deliver more and more handouts to her constituents so they keep her in office. What happens is over time she builds up clout because she's been there so long. That's how we get the Hank Johnsons who thought Guam was going to flip over because too many people were on it, and that's how we have She-Jack. She's put forth a plethora of anti-gun bills. These are some of the same old gun bills, anti-gun bills that we've seen in the past. Let me go through real quick a list of these things that have come out. Now, the Congress Got Dub site, where I pull a lot of my information from on these anti-gun bills, it's more notably has said that there's no additional text. We know these bills have been put forth, and the full text of the bills have also been put forth. These are just descriptions of these particular bills and what's coming. Again, don't think that these are works in progress. These bills are already fully written, and it's just a matter of the Library of Congress catching up and being able to populate this online feed where I get all of my information. Here's the list of the bills that She-Jack and some of her cohorts have put forth already in 2021 to limit our Second Amendment rights. The working title for H.R. 30 is to increase public safety by punishing and deterring firearms trafficking. We've talked about this before. They hijack certain phrases to try to get people's attention so that you would think, oh, of course I wouldn't vote against that. And again, they use the words to increase public safety so that you would go, well, of course I want to increase public safety. Again, a hijacking of a word does not make it any more legitimate whenever they put it into an anti-gun bill. But anyway, what they're talking about trafficking is it's essentially you buying more than one gun a day. I will wait to see what her wording looks like, but based on previous wording that has come out on bills that have talked about trafficking, they're wanting to limit you in many cases to one gun a month in purchasing. I mean, I know plenty of you guys out there. I know a lot of you, including myself, who have definitely bought more than one gun in a day, and sometimes bought multiple guns in a day during the same week. So now they're wanting to cut down on that and limit the amount of guns out there by limiting us to only one per month. Again, once the true meat and words of the bill come out, I will elaborate on that, but typically that's what they mean when they talk about trafficking. H.R. 121's working title is to provide for the hiring of 200 additional Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives agents and investigators to enforce gun laws. Well, of course we know what that means, and that is a scary one right there. There are so many thousands upon thousands of government employees already. They want 200 more, not to shuffle papers. Make no mistake, the ATF's intention is not to go to downtown Chicago to enforce gun laws of people buying guns out of trunks of cars. No, that's not what the ATF intends to do. The ATF, these additional 200, are to come after me and you. They're wanting them to investigate us to see if there's any way that they can make us felons. So you're going to add 200 agents out there that are going to have zero impact on crimes taking place. All you're doing is going after honest law-abiding people to try to make them criminals so that you can get a mark to say that you did something and crime isn't affected one single bit. That's what these 200 agents are for. H.R. 125's working title is to amend Title 18 United States Code to provide for a 7-day waiting period before a semi-automatic firearm, a silencer, armor-piercing ammunition, or a large capacity ammunition magazine may be transferred. That's pretty self-explanatory also. A transfer is a purchase. They should put it's going to limit the purchase of these items to mandate these 7-day waiting periods, because that's exactly what it is. You do see this, right? Semi-automatic. Any Glock, any kind of AR-15, any kind of self-loading gun of any kind that sends a spent casing out and loads the next round, that's a semi-automatic. You will have a 7-day waiting period in order to buy that. Let me tell you something. Whenever I feel a danger and feel like I need to go get something, or let's say anything that I need, any tool that I need around the house or anything, when I feel the need to get it, I've already made up my mind that one, I need it, and two, I need to go get it. So anyone who has made up their mind that they need that self-defense firearm needs it right then and there. A 7-day waiting period doesn't do anything but put that person in danger. But that's what our politicians are wanting to do. Put a 7-day waiting period on all these items. H.R. 127 says to provide for the licensing of firearm and ammunition possession and the registration of firearms and to prohibit the possession of certain ammunition. What they're really trying to get at is what they say, the licensing of firearms. You need a license in order to purchase and own a firearm, and you need a license to purchase and own ammunition. And here's the big one, registration. They tuck this one into this bill with other things that somebody might not see that's that big of a deal. In fact, once you see the true text of the bill, this will probably be buried in there. So you'll skim over it, probably a 1-paragraph thing. Registration of firearms. That's what they've been ultimately about and after all this time. H.R. 130 says to require the safe storage of firearms and ammunition, to require the investigation of reports of improper storage of firearms or ammunition. Can we infringe upon any more amendments in the Bill of Rights? Because whenever you have someone else very similar to a red flag gun law, report me, because now we have a safe storage law and my neighbor thinks that I might not be storing my firearms safely. So now they report me. The government kicks my door in. Remember those 200 ATF agents we talked about earlier? One of those guys and a team of SWAT guys kicks my door in, comes in and says, Paul, we have a report that you're not storing your firearms safely. That's what this bill is. Wait till the meat of this one comes out. You want to talk about dissecting an anti-gun bill? This is going to be a fun one once the true text of this one is released. H.R. 167 says to prohibit the transfer of a firearm at a gun show by a person who is not a federally licensed firearms dealer. I mean, this one comes up every time. Now, they potentially have the votes in order to pass this. What's going to be needed to pass some of these in the House is going to be 218 votes, and it's very, very possible that they get the 218 votes necessarily. Now, I want to say one thing real quick, and this infuriates me. You don't think that these things infuriate me right here, that these Democrats are putting up, because there is a possibility of these coming through? The problem is these are or I should say the issue is, these are no surprise to me. I expected these. We expect these every single year, and we certainly expected them with a Biden presidency and, of course, with the Democrats getting the House and the Senate. Yeah, these were all expected. You know what ticks me off? This is why I have no trust for any politician, regardless of political affiliation. You know what other bills are being presented that we haven't heard anything about in 4 years? With a Republican president and with, at one point, 2 years of full, complete Republican control. Yeah. Now they feel like, now when they know they can't pass it, our Republican friends are now putting forth the Hearing Protection Act and concealed carry reciprocity. Where have these two bills been for the last 4 years? These Republicans had no intention of passing either one of these bills. No intention whatsoever. And now when it comes time when they know they can't pass, now they reintroduce them. That's what's wrong with our system, guys. We got two parties. The Democrat Party, who is anti-gun, and most in the Republican Party, who they may not be anti-gun, but they sure ain't pro-Second Amendment. And they float these things to keep themselves in office when midterms come up and when the next presidential election comes up. They float these so that they can put them in your face and say, I tried to put forth the Hearing Protection Act. I tried to put forth concealed carry reciprocity. That's why they do this. Not because they intend to pass it, because they know this won't pass. These two will not pass. They have no chance of passing, none whatsoever. But they float these so they can get people out there, the stupid people that'll continue to vote for them so they can say that I got behind this. This makes me more mad than this does, because I expect this. And I've come to expect this too. But this makes me mad because this is truly a wolf in sheep's clothing.